Super Thracia is a ROM hack for Thracia 76 that's, I think, like a decade old by now. It's what would be considered a Kaiser ROM hack, a ROM hack that is arbitrarily difficult and oftentimes unfair. Until about like a week and a half, it didn't have any form of English translation, and now we have a menu translation, which is its translation for, well, the title screen, and only the menus. The story is still untranslated. This came around because Mecha started a playthrough of it, and then Myasis went, oh, let's make a menu translation, and then he popped it out like 3 days later, and then I decided, you know what, sure, I'll play it. I regret that decision, but I've also decided that, especially with today, Chaz starting a playthrough of it, I've decided that I will make this series where I will go over every chapter and the changes of that chapter for the people who either don't want to play the hack, don't want to watch people play the hack, or want to see what's coming ahead of people playing the hack. That's all this is going to be. It's just going to be me showing off each chapter. I'm not actually going to be playing through them on video. I'll be playing through them again, which actually relates to the next thing. I'm using a modified ROM. I haven't changed any character's bases, with one exception. I upped Alara's base movement, but I've upped basically everyone's growths, and I've changed people's leadership stars, action stars, and in some instances they're pursuit critical for my convenience, since, like I said, I've already played through this. I don't want to really do it again. I've also changed several items, like mostly just durability. And yeah, that's about it for all the changes I've done. So, as for the changes that are in the hack itself, Chapter 1. We get the same starting group. We get Leaf, Ivel, the Orson, Finn, and Halvin. But first thing you notice, the houses are destroyed. All of them. This doesn't actually change the functionality. All the houses that you could visit in vanilla, you still can visit here. Including, like, this one, you can still get the Brave Axe. If you visit with Halvin, you can still get the Booj, or Poogie, or Vooj, I don't know, it's up to you. If you visit this one with Orson. Next thing is that just the overall, not really overall, it's a slight layout change to the map. The opening in vanilla is around here-ish, and there's some empty space over here. Opening is now down here, and I do not believe this house is here in vanilla. Next thing, Raedric is the boss of this chapter instead of some random Manster guy. It's just Raedric himself. Aside from him, there's also Arden on this map, with 40 in most of his stats and 25 constitution. This is where we'll go into the stat changes of this hack. Stat caps are 40 across the board in this hack, with constitution capping at 25, comparatively to the 20 caps in vanilla. Arden, once he enters a round of combat, when he exits that round of combat, he will gain 40 speed and 30 movement, turning him into quite a threat unless you know how to handle him. On the subject of the stat changes, the leveling system is different. Levels go up to 40, akin to Genealogy of the Holy War going up to 30, and levels do not reset upon promotion, just like that. You can promote to a promoted class at 25, as with Ivel here, and in some cases, characters can promote to a tier 3 class at level 35 with a Master Crown. The way XP gain works in this hack, I wouldn't recommend that. I'd recommend promoting at level 35, because your XP gain when you're promoted at all in this hack just goes straight into the gutter. So it's really not worth doing until the absolute latest. Pre-promotes still get a decent amount of XP, but promoted units really don't get a whole lot. Now then, turn 3, the same units who show up in vanilla, they show up here, Dagdar, Tanya, and Marty. Dagdar and Tanya aren't really all that worth talking about. Like, comparatively to vanilla, they seem impressive, but that has more to do with the stat inflation of this hack. Dagdar is level 20, which, I mean, doesn't mean a whole lot in this hack. He's like level 1 or something in vanilla. Actually, wasn't he level 8 base in vanilla? Whatever. I'm not really going to talk about these two. Marty, on the other hand, is worth talking about. Not for his, stats or whatever, but for this neat little skill, the Bravery skill. This is how brave weapons work in this hack. They, instead of the weapon itself attacking twice, it confers this skill onto the user. This basically just means that Marty is always using a brave weapon, which, in turn, makes him pretty damn good. He still is incredibly solid. I think he has a 5% speed growth in this hack, but just this skill alone, between promotions and you can feed him, there's a lot of stat boosters in this hack, you can just feed him a bunch of speed rings, so he can become very useful. Also, yeah, he is one of the characters who can go to tier 3, because warriors promote into berserkers in this. I do believe that is all there is to note about Chapter 1 of Super Thracia.